Vincent Van Gogh, people told him, you can't be a great painter, you only have one ear. You know what he said? I can't hear you.
Listening to Sippin' Sports, a Philly sports talk morning show with Chris, KJ, and Dalt. Proudly powered by 302 Birds. Let's take it to the show.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Saturday morning edition of Sippin' Sports. Dalton and Chris here. KJ will be joining us in a second. And we got a special guest backstage for you guys. I'll get to that here in 1 second, but let's just quickly do an overview of what we got on tap for you guys today. Going to be kicking it off with the Penn State Notre Dame preview, then going into a Rodney McLeod retiring. Going to thank him for what he's done, obviously, for the city of Philadelphia and that Super Bowl run. Can never forget. Saquon Barkley being benched and seeming to give up on greatness, or the coaching staff doing so, and what Saquon might think about that. Some Pro Bowl snubs, an Eagles Giants preview, along with some Jalen Hurts clearance for concussion and when we might see that. And also, are we concerned? But before we get into any of that, let's introduce our guest back on the show. Broad, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Great to be back.
Thanks for being on. So getting right into our first topic. I mean, you're a big college football guy. Penn State, Notre Dame. This is going to be one for the ages.
Yeah, battle of all the Catholics in North Philly versus all the Penn State students.
But what are you most looking forward to in this game?
I think it's going to be a really good game. Obviously, Notre Dame, Riley Leonard, he's very good at running, as escaping the pocket, running the ball as a quarterback. Penn State's got a really good run defense, as you saw when they bullied Ashton Genty all throughout the Fiesta Bowl. The main thing is Notre Dame, or at least what Penn State is going to probably try to do, is force Notre Dame to throw the football. They want to take away the run game. Jeremiah Love, Riley Leonard, as I alluded to. Obviously, there's some concerns with injuries for Penn State, like Jalen Reed and Abdul Carter. I think they should be fine to go, but it's going to be a really good game. I think also Notre Dame, they're going to try to eliminate Singleton and Allen on the ground. They're going to want Aller to throw the football. It's mainly going to be who can throw the ball better will win the game. That's
Chris?
what
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you on that for sure. I think they just whatever quarterback's the better quarterback in the game is going to win. I think Aller's probably got more talent, at least from what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not going to be able to run the football. Well, Notre Dame's not going to be able to run on Penn State. That's not going to be able to happen. And Notre Dame's going to try to shut down our running backs. So it's going to be who can throw as much. And Penn State's passing defense isn't great. It's good, but I wouldn't say it's great. I see a lot of lapses in coverage at times. So if Notre Dame's going to beat them, it's going to be with their passing defense and passing the football. But, it's going to be a close game. I think it's probably a point or two on either side who's going to win. So I'll be watching as a Penn State fan. We'll see.
Same.
It's the battle of KJ McCoy and Jack Dordan. Stay tuned. What were you saying, Broad?
I don't hate Notre Dame. Obviously, growing up in a Catholic family, my granddad, he watched Notre Dame football, obviously, a lot, being a Catholic. That's why a lot of Catholics are Notre Dame fans, but obviously growing up in PA, I'm a Penn State guy. I mean, when you look at the spread, Notre Dame's favored by 1.5 points. It's going to be really, really close. And I have a feeling most people are going to say, well, the winner of this game is going to get curb stomped by either Ohio State or Texas. But we'll see what happens.
I think they got it. I think they got Texas. Ohio State scares me.
Yeah.
May the better team win. We'll try to let KJ McCoy fill in his thoughts on this when he gets here. I know he's going to be trying to
What are
join
your
us.
thoughts as the quote-unquote Penn State hater?
See, this game, actually, believe it or not, I will root for Penn State, the local team. Look, I've kind of changed up my college football perspective since the last time we talked broad. What I mean is, I'm kind of like that old dad or old grandfather who just kind of roots, like he's not a fan of the Eagles or of the Phillies or of the Flyers or of the Sixers, but his kids are, and his wife is, and his family, like everyone around him is. So like in his heart, he roots for that team. You know what I mean? Like everybody has a relative like that they're like, oh, I'm a Cowboys fan, but like secretly they actually root for the Eagles. That's me with Penn State. But now I'm just more open about it and how I feel. So I'm just under the mindset with Penn State of, hey, best of luck to you. I'm rooting for you. Penn State's got a darn good football team with some darn good football players. So all respect to them for what they've done this year. I mean, KJ knows last week we were talking about it on the show with some of their linebackers and like Kobe King. He had a great game, obviously, with that forced fumble and those guys and their draft stock going up humongously after the way they played against Genty. So, I mean, as far as the game goes, I'm rooting for Penn State, but I'm just ready for some good football.
Yeah, I'm pumped. What's up, guys? What's going on?
Morning. How you doing, Mac?
I'm doing all right. Overslept, but I'm good though. I'm good. I'm here now. So, but
I'm excited for this.
Oh, I'm pumped. I'm so excited. I got a bunch of buddies who went to Penn State, and yeah, we're ecstatic for this. I mean, this is a huge game. I mean, there's a lot of people. I bet you that Broad and Chris can agree with me. This is like the Delco Bowl because like people in Delco, I mean, either you like Notre Dame or you like Penn State. That's how it really is with college football. So I think it's going to be insane over there in that area. But I'm excited.
A lot of Catholics.
Yeah, Catholics. Yeah.
A lot of Catholics.
Yep, exactly. So it's going to be exciting. I mean, it's going to be a good game for sure. Notre Dame's good though; they have a really good defense, and that's the one thing I'm kind of worried about. So we'll see how Penn State matches up with them, but it's going to be a old school battle. Finally, that rivalry is like established back again, so it's going to be fun.
Are you nervous for anything as a Penn State fan, specifically looking at
the defense? Notre Dame defense looks really good. That's the one thing. It's the Notre Dame defense. I guess I can say I'm nervous about. I think our defense can stop the offense, but I think their defense is just very elite. So we'll see what happens, and I think it's just it's going to be really interesting to see what the outcome, what happens with the outcome.
Yeah, no, I agree. But there's also like a lot of interesting tidbits around this game because Marcus Freeman and James Franklin, they're the first two African-American head coaches to coach in the CFP semifinal. So that means we're guaranteed to at least see the first black head coach in the CFP national championship. They could become the first ever African-American head coach at least on the FBS level to win the national championship. The only other one, because I was talking with my guy Champ, I believe it was Willie Jeffries in 1979 when he won the national championship with Wichita State at the FCS level, but also just the narrative around this game too. Penn State, James Franklin, quote unquote, can't win the big games. I always tell people, keep that same energy with Notre Dame because before this playoff run, you can actually go back and look at Notre Dame's records. They never won a BCS Bowl, never won a New Year's Six Bowl, never won a CFP game. So they, quote unquote, couldn't win the big games either. So now we have the two teams that can't win big games, and one of them's going to go to the national championship.
Who can choke the hardest?
Yeah. Yeah, two teams that are known for choking for sure. So we'll see which team actually chokes. We'll see. Hopefully it's not Penn State, or I'll be very upset.
So KJ, getting into our next topic, I know this is obviously somebody I think Did you mention to me in the past that you had actually met McLeod at a practice?
Yeah, me and Chris both did. Me and Chris both did.
Somewhere.
Yeah. He actually posted on his Instagram a picture of me and Chris. It was pretty cool. It was like a bunch of fans, and me and Chris were like the first people you can see in the photo. So it was really cool. It was something like saying like, hey, I love Philly or something like that. And me and Chris are right there just like getting our football signed or whatever. It was pretty cool. And I showed Chris, or I think he showed me or something like that. He's like, yo, we're on Rodney McLeod's Instagram. So that was really cool to see. That was dope. But
so how are you feeling about this retirement then? Emotional? I mean, Super Bowl champion, a great guy on and off the field.
Well, I feel like a lot of guys from our Super Bowl 52 team are hanging up the capes and they're hanging up the helmets for sure. So, I mean, it is totally time for some of them. And Rodney McLeod, I think I heard an interview of him on 94 WIP, like in the summer. He was there as like a guest host. And he was saying that like he doesn't know when he's going to retire, but he says it's going to be soon. And he actually pretty much said that he wanted to get into like radio and everything like that and kind of doing the whole thing of like being a radio host, like how Ike Reese does it now, like being a former player, kind of giving the former player insight and everything like that. So I think he wants to go in that kind of field. Hopefully he does, and maybe he comes back to Philly. I know he still has a place here, so that's a cool thing. But yeah, he was a key factor for this team for winning Super Bowl 52. I think he was a key factor for sure.
Mm-hmm. Chris?
Yeah, I mean, Rodney was just a great football player for this team. I mean, he didn't cause any drama, was just a solid tackler, made some plays when they needed it to. You know, he's not going to be like his number's not going to be up in the rafters or anything like that, but a great player for the city and just a great guy. I mean, what were we, 18 years old, KJ, when we met him?
And he was always
and you know, he gave me one of his gloves after practice, signed it. I have it somewhere still. So I've always been a big Rodney McLeod fan. And I just remember, it's not even an Eagles moment, but I think my favorite Rodney McLeod moment is him just lighting somebody the fuck up along the sideline.
Emmanuel Sanders, yeah.
You guys know that clip. He just lit him the fuck up.
he was on the Rams.
Yeah, when he was with the Rams. It was just a legendary clip. And you know, I feel like Malcolm Jenkins gets all the credit for that safety room. He deserves a lot of it, but McLeod was back there too, and he was a hell of a player. So congrats to Rodney, and we'll see. Maybe if he wants to be a 302 Birds member, he can come here.
I would be all for that. Just saying. Maybe we got to start by going to the he does an event. Shout out to Jen McGraw for shouting it out, but it's the Sneaker Ball every year. So it's an event where you wear a nice pair of sneakers for charity. So maybe we start there. Stay tuned. Broad, how are you feeling about this retirement?
I mean, I was kind of like, wow, Rodney actually retired, because obviously he was with Philly, started his career with the Rams, then he went to Cleveland, obviously scored that blocked field goal for a touchdown against us earlier this season. But no, Rodney, he was a hell of a player when he was with us. Obviously, like what Chris said, he was not going to be known as like, oh, one of our elite secondary players. He'll be known more as like a serviceable player in comparison to Malcolm Jenkins, who may or may not have his numbers up in the rafters. But no, Rodney, he was a really good player. He was an integral part of our Super Bowl team, especially mentoring as a veteran, him and Malcolm Jenkins, mentoring a lot of the guys we brought in, the young guys that we had brought in for that Super Bowl, like Patrick Robinson and especially Rasul Douglas. But no, I mean, Rodney, you'll always be a Philadelphia Eagle, and congrats to your retirement. Wish you the best.
Yeah, I mean, it hurt me because when he first came here, he was somebody that I at least thought, I was like, this guy's going to be a Pro Bowler. He's going to be this and that. And I think he was a Pro Bowler one year, not to disrespect him either, but he was under the radar. That's definitely a good way to put it. Like, his number won't be up in the rafters, Chris. You said that perfectly. But he will be remembered for his leadership, his grit, his heart. I mean, he was the backbone of so many unforgettable moments during that Super Bowl run. So even though he wasn't always in the spotlight, his contributions were undeniable to that Super Bowl 52 team. And he wore midnight green with pride. He set an example for younger players, and not a lot of players in the NFL can say they did that. So him, along with Malcolm Jenkins, leading that defense and that locker room, no wonder our defense was always in tip-top shape. You got two men who demand excellence out of themselves and out of their teams. So Rodney McLeod, thank you for everything you did for this Super Bowl team. It's undeniable, your impact that you had on the Super Bowl team, and from all of us, salute. What are you showing, Mac? What do you got? Is that the picture you guys?
That was me and Chris, yeah.
Oh my God, look at how young you guys are. Go back. Look at them, little Mac and little Chris. Chris doesn't have
beards
a beard
at
either.
all.
He's doing
It was
that,
before
yeah.
the long hair.
Hold your finger on it so that it just keeps it posted in place.
Yeah, there you go. Wow, look at that, bro.
We're right there.
That's crazy.
Was that your guys' picture too, or no? Was that somebody
No,
else's?
so Rodney, we never seen that picture until Rodney posted that.
No, I'm talking about the thing that he was signing.
No, that was
No.
that was the girl behind us actually, and we remember her too, and she was behind us, and she was like, "Yo, I want to get Rodney over here," and we apparently got him over here somehow, and he went over to our spot, and he was really cool.
Yeah, I like
really
Rodney a lot. I mean, this one hurt. When I saw this news, I was like, yeah, we can't.
We should post
not
that to
talk
the
about it.
302 Birds page.
We should. That'd be cool.
Oh, the picture of you two? I would love to post that. That definitely
I'll
should be
send
a
it to
Finally
you.
Friday, too, that we throw in the vault. Young Mac and young Chris. Send it to me right now.
Yeah, let me send.
That might be one of our first pictures together.
That's
think it
wild.
was.
Hey, that's a good one to
It
have.
was.
It's a
I
Philly
think it
legend.
actually was.
But another Philly legend that we'll go ahead and talk about getting benched. Chris, I'll let you take this one first. Saquon Barkley gets benched for good reason too. But how are you feeling about the whole
everybody's
thing?
all pissed off about it. Honestly, like we saw what happened last year when they played all the starters. AJ Brown got hurt, right? This is what you want to avoid, and especially since it's not just some like easy goal to get. It's still 101 yards in a football game, and it's not just Barkley that's got to play for this. Like, you got to play the whole offensive line then. Like, I'm completely okay with them benching Barkley here. The record isn't going to get broken, but, it's not that big of a deal in my mind. If they wanted to get it, they should have tried for it last week, really. But especially against the Giants, who I'm sure there's some players on that team who got some bad blood towards him. Going to take some extra shots at him, and you don't want that. Sure, it's a cool record, but I think he'd rather have the trophy. I think we'd all rather have the trophy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, at first I was a little angry, but I mean, I kind of get it though. If you think about it, yeah, you're kind of setting him up for a potential injury. We don't know like what could happen. There could, as Chris said, there could be some players that have some bad blood with them, and they want to get revenge on him. And it's like, come on. I mean, Saquon's a great guy. And it shows too that, I mean, like, even though he seemed like he was a little bit angry that he wasn't going to play, his family wasn't happy that he wasn't going to play. I think a little bit of him is like, you know what though, maybe this is a good thing. So we just like focus on the trophy and try and go for the Super Bowl. And that's the main goal. But yeah, I mean, like, you might not have another chance. Here's the other part of it too. Like, you might not have another chance of getting a record like this. But I mean, I rather him not risk, or the team not risk him getting injury, because then we could come back and be like, oh my God, they were so stupid to put him back in. Why wouldn't they just rest him? Who cares about the freaking, you know what? I take it back. I'd rather not have the record or whatever. So I mean, it's just like you got a lot of pinpoints and a lot of like I guess like bad like scenes that could happen if he does play. So I think it's actually the better move now that I think of it, and it was the right decision. That's why.
Broad?
Yeah, I heard arguments from both sides like, oh, he'll never get a shot at this again. But then also, what if he gets hurt? But also the thing that people aren't factoring in is we already wrapped up the division and we're locked into the 2 seed. So there's no
nothing
point
to play for.
in him playing. Obviously, it'd be awesome for him to get the record because I know people would have said, "Oh, he had an extra game than Dickerson," even though he would have done it on less carries per game. But yeah, I mean, the AJ Brown situation last year, he got hurt. That was just a little bit different because we were still in contention for the NFC East at that point. So that's why all the starters did play in that game. But I mean, I kind of agree with it because knowing the Giants, they would have 100% stacked the box because that's what they tried to do. I mean, Dallas did it early on. Washington in the second half because they knew that second half Saquon was the real deal. They stacked the box too to make sure that we didn't win that game. Dallas I know I just repeated myself, but Dallas attempted to stack the box to make sure Barkley couldn't go off. But I'm in the I think it's a good decision. But there's other guys that are resting most likely because looking at the doubtful report, it's Saquon, Zach Bond, AJ Brown, which Howie signed Zach to an extension immediately. Saquon, Zach Bond, AJ Brown, Jalen Carter, Landon Dickerson, Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, Darius Slay, and Smitty. Like you're pretty much playing for pride at this point. Like you're not still in contention for the 1 seed. You're locked into the 2. So there's no point in playing your starters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I felt like an idiot when I saw Kyle Pagan's interview from Crossing Broad, and a 11-year-old kid, a 5th grader, made me feel like an idiot. Basically, when he brought out the point about the offensive line, they went, "God damn it, little fucker is right." You know what I mean? Because it's easy to say, right? Hey, go play Saquon Barkley. That's a risk of one guy. He's 101 yards away. This record you won't see for another 40 years, this, that, and the other thing, right? But when that little fucker brought up the great point about 5 other guys having to go out there and you factor in the risk of them potentially getting injured, that has drastic changes because it's not just Saquon going out there. It's the whole offense. You don't just put Saquon Barkley out there. You put everybody out there. So it's a team like the Giants. I feel bad for Saquon a little bit. I don't know if any of you guys saw the interview too with, I think it was Devin Caney or it might have been John Clark, one of the two, where they asked him, they said, "How do you feel about it? How did you feel when the news was broken?" And even though he basically gave the politically correct answer, as he always does, you could see in his face that he kind of wanted to go for it. But I think he understands there are bigger things at stake here rather than some record that won't bring us a break. Hey, guys, does a record give you guys or me anything? It's cool to talk about, but it doesn't give us a parade. It doesn't give us a ring. It doesn't give us something that we'll talk about. You might talk about it for another 40 years, but a Super Bowl is unforgettable. That has no lifespan or expiration date, right? A record, unfortunately, does. Records are meant to be broken.
Yeah, and also, like, bringing up the offensive line point, 3 of the starters, they're most likely going to sit. The only one that I've seen that isn't on the resting report so far is Cam Jurgens, but also Mekhi Becton. While he has actually been a really good pickup, I wasn't the biggest fan when we picked him up earlier, but then when we shifted him into guard, it has worked out. But he's been battling injuries the entire season, so Tyler Steen has also been jumping in. Like, he's played with Fred Johnson when Jordan was out and when Lane would sometimes get out, but he hasn't played with both Fred and Jack Driscoll at the tackles. So,
yeah. You're going to watch Giant Saquon real quick if they put in that backup offensive line. And, yeah, Jurgens and Becton may be active, but they're not going to play. I think they're going to try to play as many backups as they possibly have, but, I mean, you can't possibly deactivate everybody. It's not possible.
Or they might do like what they did in 2021 when we already had secured our playoff spot. Week 18, meaningless game against the Cowboys. Obviously, we got in that game. And they had already wrapped up the division, but like Jason Kelsey, he literally played 1 snap so he could keep his starting streak alive because 1 snap means that you started.
Yeah, which is stupid, but who cares?
Yeah.
Here we go. It should be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. Stay tuned. But next topic, rolling into it, Mac. How are you feeling about some of these Pro Bowl snubs? I mean, a lot of, I think, was an obvious one.
Also, AJ Brown too. AJ did not make it. Devontae did not make it either. So, I mean, we all know that the Pro Bowl is a literal joke nowadays. It just sucks. They honestly they have a flag football game now. They don't even play tackle anymore. So, I mean, it just shows that the players don't care about it anymore. The last player to really care about the Pro Bowl, rest in peace to him, is Sean Taylor. I mean, he actually did a big hit on one of the punters, I believe, from the Bills back in 2006. Yeah. That was the last time I really saw somebody care about the Pro Bowl, because it's just a joke. It really is. But yeah, I mean, there's some snubs for sure. I mean, you still want to have that kind of that kind of award, and still that kind of just that kind of nod, I guess you can say, of being a Pro Bowler. So yeah, I think Jordan Mailata deserved it. I think Devontae or AJ deserved it. One of those two. I mean, they're Pro Bowl receivers. But I mean, maybe they still will get they'll get in. Here's the thing though. We don't really care about the Pro Bowl. I mean, we don't care about it even if we don't make it to the Super Bowl, because it just sucks. But here's the thing. We got to make it to the Super Bowl. And that's the main thing we got to focus on. And that's what I'm thinking about. Because if we make it to the Super Bowl, we don't get any of our Pro Bowlers in there. So I mean, who gives a crap? That's what I think about it. So it's just it is what it is. I mean, they didn't accept some of the players, but it is good that they did realize and give his recognition to Zach Bond, because the guy's been everywhere. He's one of the best linebackers right now in the league. And thank God they gave him his flowers. That's what I can say.
Yeah, Bond definitely deserves it. Chris?
Yeah, I think the Pro Bowl is it's a massive joke at this point. And I think it's a real shame, because there's a lot of players who have incentives and stuff. If they make the Pro Bowl, I forget what play it was, but it was a really good player. And the 5th-year option would have been $20 million if he would have made the Pro Bowl, but he missed the Pro Bowl, so he got only $12 million. It's a lot of money off of a Pro Bowl. It might have been Smitty. I don't remember for sure. I saw it on Twitter. But with something so incentive-based to have such a popularity contest, it's a joke. Not even just Eagles-wise snubs. Herbie Joseph had 8 picks on the year, and he didn't make it. Some of this stuff is a joke. These players not making it. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson didn't make it. There's a lot of players that should have been in that aren't in, and it's it's a flag football game. Why not just allow more players than you allow more players than usual? Allow a full 75-man roster or something like that. There's so many more guys that deserve their flowers that don't get it. And honestly, the whole Eagles offensive line could have been Pro Bowlers very easily. So I feel there's a couple of decisions that were made there just so it wasn't a full Eagles offensive line. I don't know, but it's a joke. And if the Eagles are in the Pro Bowl at all, it's a bad season.
Yeah, exactly. We will not be happy if we are actually watching the Eagles in the Pro Bowl. We will not be happy. So,
not at all.
Yeah.
But I mean, kind of to Chris and KJ's point, I mean, the Pro Bowl has become such a joke. I mean, it's a flag football game. It's more of a popularity contest because, Jordan Mailata, he was the highest rated tackle in PFF, even though I don't mainly use Pro Football Focus as a merits for argument, but it's just, you can tell it's a popularity contest, and I think it has something to do with, obviously, probably underlying the Pro Bowl voters, where you didn't beat the minimum required games in order to make it eligible for the Pro Bowl. But when it comes to other guys, you look back on the Pro Bowl when it was a full contact game, there is guys like Jason Peters, for example, where with him making 9 Pro Bowls, that's going to help out his case for the Hall of Fame. But now it doesn't hold as much merit as all pros do. There were so many years that Jason Kelce should have made the Pro Bowl, didn't make it, but he was first team All Pro. But obviously the first team All Pro is going to hold a lot more merit for a Hall of Fame case than a Pro Bowl.
Yep.
It's like the NBA. No one necessarily. Oh, it's cool that you're a 16-time All-Star, but how many All NBA first teams were you? Oh, you're this many too? Okay, yeah, no, you're in. But kind of like what KJ said, if the guys are playing in Orlando during that flag football game, we're all not going to be happy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all these All-Star games are a joke. I mean, they all are. I mean, we used to think they were really cool when we were younger, but they suck, and they can't fix them. I know, like the NBA wants to fix it. You're not gonna be able to fix it.
That NBA new proposed one is dumb as hell.
Yeah,
the only one I like is the MLB one.
Yeah, the MLB is probably the best out of all of it, and I'm glad
they went back to their traditional structure where it's National League versus American League.
Yeah.
It's not like, Team Mookie Betts versus Team Yordan Alvarez. And it's like, no one cares about that.
No one gives a shit.
Yeah, it's like two coaches. It's like, today we're going to have Coach Deshaun Jackson versus Coach Jerry Rice. It's like, what the fuck? Like, what is this? Like Madden? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Or even like,
I think it's try to appeal to kids, but it's like nobody likes it.
Yeah,
exactly. They just lose everybody.
A team LeBron.
I don't know any kids who like it.
Like the team LeBron versus team Giannis stuff. Like, I get it. They're the big names. But then you look back a few years ago, like, oh, wow, he can have Jokic and Embiid on the same team. Why would you not do team? Like, you look, these two guys, they are the front runners for the MVP race. So why would you not do team Jokic versus team Embiid? Like, or just keep it East-West. Like, I saw there's 4 teams. Like, they're trying to do like what the NHL All-Star game does, even though the NHL is a little bit more organized, where it's Team Metro versus Team Atlantic, Team Pacific versus Team Central.
It's too much to watch.
And then whoever wins.
They're trying to make it like March Madness, and it's not.
They got to fix it. I mean, you guys pointed out a great thing, that the NFL and frankly all major leagues need to take a hard look at the way that they approach these all-star games and Pro Bowl selections. These events were once a celebration, like KJ pointed out, of the absolute best of the best in the sport. We all remember Sean Taylor's hit on the punter, like KJ pointed out. But I just remember some of those jerseys as a kid. Like, does anyone else remember that Deshaun Jackson NFC Pro Bowl jersey? It was a spectacle. It was something to be proud of. And making the Pro Bowl was something that I feel like a lot of players took pride in. And now it's just something where it's like, well, now I'm just going to have to put my body on the line again. And you look at the way that they're snubbing the players. Like when someone like Jordan Mailata, who leads the NFL in run blocking with that 94.9 PFF, and then he's like ranked second in pass blocking. And I think he had the league best, but he got snubbed. Like he was clearly like a top 2 tackle in the league. But there's just something going on where if the league wants all-star games to matter again and players to care about them, they need to prioritize honoring the deserving players who were dominant on the field all year, not just the ones who are, deserving of the votes. Because the one thing I'll end with, and I think I texted this in the group chat, look, we all love Jordan Mailata, but we're all Eagles fans, right? Jordan Mailata is a very loud, outspoken, confident guy. Some people get intimidated by that. I wonder how much of the NFL maybe just doesn't like him as a person or fears him or just...
But they love Kelsey?
Yeah. Well, Kelsey's different. Kelsey's respected. Kelsey's been in the league for a decade. Everybody knows Kelsey. He's got a brother. Mailata just came from nothing, and he's gritty too. So I'm not saying that that's true, but I'm not saying that it's not true. And I just wonder if maybe some players are intimidated by him or if they don't like him. And if that factors in, because the players vote too, I believe.
Yeah, he's just like a hard-nosed guy on the football field, but then you look at him in interviews. How are you afraid of him? He's a fucking teddy bear.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. We don't see the other side of him, guys. We're shaking his hand at a bar, singing with him. We're not having him coming for our neck, charging us. And look, those things that are said on a football field, we don't know what's said. And I'm not saying Mailata's, the chief trash talker out there. He's no Brandon Graham. But I'm just saying, I wonder if some players are intimidated by him. New guy on the block, came out of nowhere, and he's not just
intimidated.
He's dominating. He's dominating it.
Yeah. But I mean, I think if we had to interview Jordan today, like, oh, what do you think about the Pro Bowl? He's probably gonna be like, oh, I don't care about no fucking Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Just
That
like
was
he might
Ron.
get-
That was a
he
good
might
one.
get he might get fined for saying that, but yeah, because I mean they
Yeah.
can't really comment on it, but yeah, I mean he'd probably say that. He probably would.
But can we all agree that the Pro Bowl needs to be great again and all-star games across all leagues?
Yes.
Like, it needs to be something that we care about watching.
Like, we're talking about like the NBA All-Star game too. Like, that was just more of just like a spectacle. Defense, never heard of it. It's like they'll like play defense. Oh, you want to go for the slam? Let me get out of the way real quick.
Yeah, I'm not putting my body on the line. Not for this meaningless game.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you
let me
think that they should maybe make incentives in the Pro Bowl or All-Star games? Because
Yeah,
I kind
I
of like
think
that
so.
idea. That would be cool. Like NFC team
think so.
wins the next 10 years of Super Bowls are played, or I guess you can't do that because there's an All-Star game every year. But NFC team wins, Super Bowls played at an NFC team's home the next year. That would be kind of cool.
because you have to you have to bid for the Super Bowl
You got to bid for it. Yeah.
like years in advance.
We could change it though 10 years from now. I'm just saying they got to throw something else out there to make these players incentivized because they don't care at all right now.
Or maybe
Well,
move.
I don't
like,
think they would
maybe,
care if it's at their home field. I don't think they would care.
maybe when they do
I
the
would.
games not right,
No,
like
they
maybe
wouldn't
it should
care.
be like in the middle of the summer or something.
There you go. Yeah, that might be something else too. Give
They
them
might
some
be on
time off.
vacation, too.
Maybe
That's-
do it like the beginning of
that's-
August. Bring back.
So
the
you
best of
actually
the
have
best.
like the best players in the league playing.
Yeah,
Because a lot of the times you have guys like Patrick Mahomes who's in the Super Bowl. He's not playing.
Yeah.
Like,
or you do it like you did when we were kids and you bring it back to Hawaii. So it's more of like an actual
Hawaii.
celebration because no one cares about it in Orlando. No one
yeah,
cares
nobody
about it.
nobody
in
wants to go
Vegas,
for
in
vacation to
Arizona,
Orlando.
when it
Yeah.
was in Arizona a few years ago. They won it in Hawaii. That was the whole part of it.
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Yeah,
Hawaii.
KJ. Yeah, because there's an apostrophe between the eyes. If you ever,
I
actually-
know.
Hey, you're uncultured,
It's
man.
actually the
Well,
W
no,
is
I'm
actually
gonna ask
pronounced
Chris.
as B. It's
Yeah,
Hawaii.
Yeah. Yep.
Hawaii.
Chris knows. He's been there a lot, so that's why I was going to ask him.
Too many times.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, if they bring back the Pro Bowl there, Chris, just take us all. That's all I'm saying, man. And we'll be there rooting for
Dude,
it.
I
because-
tried. You couldn't get fucking tickets for it
Really?
unless you were like a native.
Really? It's
Yeah,
that
it was
expensive?
it was really, really hard to get tickets. And it was also on a different island. But that stadium, I think they either knocked it down or it's not used anymore. If I'm not
Really?
mistaken, there's something that, like that stadium's. It was a dump. Like I was there 10 years ago on that island, and it was a dump then. So, kind of like FedEx Field, but
Oh, you mean Northwest Stadium?
oh yeah, Northwest,
Stadium.
whatever it is, stadium. Yeah.
Whatever credit mutual fund that they have sponsoring the stadium.
Yeah, but
Josh
it
Harris.
was a shitty stadium then. So I don't know. Honestly, you know what would be cool? Just play on the beach. Like roll out a fucking turf on the beach.
Yeah.
Or just play
I
on
mean,
the
hey,
beach.
why not? They need to do something else. And maybe if going and getting tackled in the sand incentivizes these players that, hey, it's not going to hurt as bad. Because I think that a lot of players and teams, their biggest fear, respectfully and understandably, is injury. They don't
Yeah.
want their guys
Mhm.
going out there getting hurt before or after the season because these guys are assets and they all go for the same
Especially
thing
if they're free
every year.
agents. Like
Yeah.
if these guys are free agents and they're about to get paid big time money, they don't want to get hurt in the Pro Bowl. And a
Bingo.
lot of this has to do with the Players Association now and all that. Like, I feel like there's so much more strict about what their players do now than it was 10, 15 years ago. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you look at one of these NFL contracts and see the crazy shit they put in there. Like, oh yeah, you can't go ice skating or something like a lot of them have like weird clauses like that in there that, oh, you can't go ATVing or something like that. Now, you see players get hurt doing it, and that's why they put them in there. But it's just
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
can't
it's only
do
going to be a
anything.
matter of time before the Pro Bowl is just a whole NFC Madden tournament, AFC Madden tournament, and the two will play each other.
Basically on a
it's
virtual
dumb as
field.
hell.
That might
didn't
be what
they
they
have a
should do
Madden
tomorrow,
tournament?
right, Broad? I
They
mean,
did.
how are you feeling about this Eagles-Giants game? Are you even going to be caring about it,
No,
watching it?
no. Oh wow, we have Giants haven't won in Philly since 2013. I mean, I don't give a shit. I don't. Tanner's most likely going to start. Like, congrats to him for his first career start. Hopefully, the one thing that I want to see, though, because I keep seeing these guys that haven't been used properly this season. I would love to see Will get involved. I would love to see Anias getting involved. Jeremiah Trotter is finally getting involved. That's really all I care about. Other than that, if we win or lose, it's a lose-lose for the Giants no matter what. Because, if they lose against us, it's their 13th straight year losing to us in the link. But if they win, they just sabotage themselves even further down the line in the draft where, we were in prime position to get a Shedeur Sanders or a Cam Ward or a Travis Hunter. Now, shit.
I would love that. I would love to see the Giants beat the Eagles tomorrow. I want to see the Giants beat the Eagles tomorrow. I would cry laughing to see the Giants just completely fuck their draft position and wind up with another scrub-ass quarterback. And they go over draft on I don't know who's out there, Jackson Dart or some scrub like that. It would be hilarious. So I'm actually rooting for the Eagles to lose this game tomorrow. But I want to see some Keely Ringo out there. I want to see some Trotter out there. Who else? Let's see. I don't want to see any more McCollum at all.
Sidney Brown.
But,
we know who wants to see Sidney Brown out there.
Well, I thought Sidney would be suspended for this game because he got ejected.
He did. I think he did.
Yeah,
is that an NFL thing or is that only NCAA?
The team may do some disciplining too and might hold him back for a game. I would honestly play him if he can. Let him get the experience this game. Any of those second or third string guys, this is what I would call a tune-up game, right? This is get your ass out there. Get ready because it's about to get kicked up a gear. Everybody's about to play with a lot more meaning. Every hit is about to mean more. Every truck is about to mean a lot more. Every spin, juke move, whatever you want to say, everybody's going to be sharpened for the playoffs. So you players got to make sure that you're doing your part to be sharp for the playoffs. So that means second string guys like McCollum, like Sidney Brown, I guess Shipley might still be concussed, but Gainwell, backup running backs, backup wideouts, all these guys I want to see getting reps so that if their name is called in the playoffs, you never know when it's going to happen. Knock on wood. They're ready. I don't want to see anybody having their first NFL snaps or mistakes, this, that out there, because that's really going to frustrate me. And that's something I would actually blame on Nick Sirianni, not the player. As a coach, you need to make sure that all of these guys, every single one of them, I don't care if it's the first string, I don't care if it's the third string, every single one of them is ready for the moment when their number's called.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care who wins, honestly, but I can't believe I'm saying this, but I hope the Cowboys beat the Commanders because I would rather play the Commanders than the Packers in the wild card.
And the Commanders and the Cowboys fuck their draft position too.
That too.
Yeah, we'd love to see that for sure.
I want the whole NFC's draft position fucked.
Yes.
Set them back. Set them back for ages. I like it.
Yes.
Send them back.
Let the AFC get all the quarterbacks. Even though I don't think Sanders is going to be that good, but
as long as Jensen's not a Cowboy, that is all I care about.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I hope the Giants take him so they just go through the same cycle they just went through.
I'm really scared about that Genty thing you said. KJ, take my mind off it. How are you feeling about this Eagles Giants game?
Yeah, I'll take your mind off it. I got you. I'm feeling the same way. I mean, it's pretty much just like it's a garbage game. I mean, that's all it is. Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, that's what it is. And you're going to see a lot of players out there who are trying to, I mean, honestly, they're going to be second string players and they're going to get some chances out there. And I mean, hopefully they ball out. But at the same time, though, I mean, it really doesn't – it's going to – if the Giants win, they're going to act like they're like, oh, we beat the Eagles in Philly. Yay, we finally beat them. Dude, we have our starters in, dude. It's like you're getting all excited like it's your Super Bowl, just like how the Commanders got excited when they beat us by 3 points. We didn't have Jalen Hurts. So it's just I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I don't really care what the outcome is. We still have the 2 seed. Whoever we play, the Packers or Commanders in the next round, I'm not scared of either team. I'm really not. So I think we could beat both teams. I think we could take on the Commanders. We could shut them up. And then I think we could beat the Packers as well. So we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a garbage game tomorrow. So whatever happens, I'm not going to be upset. I'm not going to be pouting or throwing crap at the TV or whatever. I'm not going to be doing that.
Yeah, I agree. But the difference is the Packers are getting hot at the right time.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're going to want their lick back for Brazil. It's just something about the Packers in the playoffs. Like kind of what KJ said, I'm not necessarily scared of them, but I would prefer to play the Commanders than the Packers.
Yeah.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, it's hard to beat the same team twice in a season, right? Especially when they had that chip on their shoulder.
Not to mention the same team that you played 3 months ago on a neutral site. I mean, obviously we'd have the advantage now officially being at home, but
yeah. And they're a cold weather team. So it's not like you're getting Miami that's coming into San Francisco. Obviously that wouldn't happen in the playoffs, but just for example, cold weather coming into or warm weather going into a cold weather atmosphere, that usually doesn't work out.
Yeah,
so,
they're 0-8 in their last 8, or it's 0-10 or something like that in their last 10 games below 32 degrees. Or actually, I think it might have been even more. I think it's 40 degrees.
So Green Bay's equipped for it. I definitely agree with you guys. I would want the Commanders. We'll see what happens in this last game. But moving along now into our last topic. A lot of people were asking us, guys, what is going on with Jalen Hurts' concussion? Why have the Eagles not really said anything about it? Or they're saying that he still hasn't cleared protocol. And when can we expect to see him clear protocol? And moreover, when should we be worried? Well, Elliot Shore-Parks from 94 WIP basically said he won't be worried until next Wednesday, which, thinking about it, that's a phenomenal answer. I think that's great because when you start to look at the playoffs and the way they're shaping up, next Wednesday would be a time when Jalen Hurts should be back out there. The team truly might be resting him and Saquon and the rest of the team before the playoffs. Get these guys charged up like an Energizer Bunny. Get them 100% ready to go for the playoffs. I don't want any listen, I don't want any excuses in the offseason now saying that this team wasn't healthy or wasn't ready for the playoffs. That was okay last year. I know A.J. Brown had the foot thing going on, and that made it extremely difficult for him to play the sport of football. I get it. But this year, there's going to be none of that. So when I would start to be concerned, I would say for Jalen's clearance would be Wednesday, like ESP said. That's when I'm starting to say, okay, things are not looking up for the Eagles. And honestly, I think Jalen Hurts is fine. I think he's okay. I think that the team's just giving him a good rest. And whatever happens this week happens. They know that they're going to probably have to play in the wild card game. And whatever happens, happens. I think that they know they have a wild card game at home. And they're at this point now where they're like, it is what it is. We're stuck here. Let's make the best of it.
Yeah, I'm actually moderately concerned now about Jalen with this. It's going to be 3 weeks since he practiced at that point. That's scary. Just not just, sure, he's resting or whatever, but him not practicing is scary to me, being rusty going into the playoffs. We've seen rusty Jalen before after a couple games missed. It's not going to look good. Hopefully he's practicing again Monday or Tuesday, but I'm pretty sure it's an independent neurologist that checks him out, not the Eagles, which means it's not like the Eagles are just resting him.
Yeah.
It's somebody saying that he can't play yet. And it also, maybe this wasn't the first concussion he had this year. It's just the first one that was caught. I mean, that game in Washington, we saw the way he was. The first game in Philly that they played against Washington, we saw him after the game, looked a little loopy. So maybe he had a concussion then. Maybe I'm just speculating, but I am a little concerned now that, it's been a while. He hasn't been cleared yet. Hopefully he gets cleared soon. That's all I can say, but it's looking like Wentz all over again, and we don't want that.
Cue the Twilight Zone music.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I'm not against that. Sirianni, the way that he reports these injuries, that's a great point. That it may not be the first concussion that we're finding out about this year.
Yeah.
KJ, or I'm sorry, Broad.
I mean, there is somewhat a concern knowing that he hasn't practiced the last couple weeks. Obviously, say if he, hypothetically speaking, if he was cleared for this week, I would have said, oh, maybe throw him out for like the first like 1 or 2 series so that he can kind of get that rust off of him. Obviously, that's not going to happen, but I mean, I think we'll be fine. I think Chris made a great point. I don't think this was his first concussion because you look back at the Thursday night game in Washington, and even a little bit of that Pittsburgh game too, he kind of looked semi-concussed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think there is something up. I think there's something that we are not being told. Kind of like what we kind of go through with the Sixers. I mean, we're never really told what the heck's going on. But I think it's kind of like something like that. Because, I mean, also remember this too. He did have a little bit of a finger injury. He had a cast on his finger a couple weeks ago. So, I mean, I know it's not his throwing hand, but that could be a concern as well. And they could not be telling us something that we could have no idea about his finger. But, yeah, I mean, honestly, though, that hit that he had against the Commanders, I mean, the way that he got up, the way that he was just putting his thumb up, it just seemed like he was just like something was up. And, I mean, like he needed to rest for the rest of the game. He needed to be out. So, I think Chris has a point with the whole, like, repetition and everything like that and not being – and losing, like, mojo and everything like that. So, I think that's the one thing we got to worry about because Jalen is not going to have the reps. He's not going to be – in the game mode that he's been in during this regular season where we've seen him do pretty good. He's had a pretty good season in general, I feel like. So I think it could be concerning. And then we're going to be looking back and being like, oh my God, he should have got some reps in the Giants game. Even though the game really didn't mean anything, he should have got some reps. He should have played. They should have let him out there. But I just feel like this could bite us in the butt. This really could. So we'll see what happens. I hope he's okay. I mean, praying for him. Huge Jalen fan, so huge Jalen believer. And we'll see what really does transpire in these next couple of weeks. I mean, especially when the playoffs happen. We'll see what happens. But I'm hoping for the best, boys. I'm hoping for the best.
It's going to mean now more than ever. And like KJ said, we're all hoping for the best. I mean, well said, Mac. Hopefully everything's okay, but not playing is not a good thing. Momentum is a real thing in the sport of football. And with him not out there, especially that long, I hope I'm wrong on that, but it could be a cause for concern. And in the playoffs, it ain't like you get another week or two to get things right. It's all one and done. You lose that game, you're out. Season's over. Everything that you've worked so hard for this season is out the window. And that's why I was listening to WIP today. Some of the call-ins, if you guys haven't, listen to WIP this morning. I don't know if Mercury's in retrograde or what the fuck's going on, but everybody's smoking something every call-in. Bro's hung up on 2 people back-to-back this morning. I was cracking up as I went out to go get my breakfast before the show. I'm listening to it. Huh?
Broads works for the Fanatic, I thought.
Not anymore.
He does something for WIP because he's on Hunter. Yeah, Hunter Brody. Love that man.
He's on 94 now.
He hung up on 2 people back to back. It was and understandably so. I want to say that these 2 fans were trying to say one of them said that Tanner McKee was better than Jalen Hurts.
Oh my God.
And then another one said that Saquon Barkley doesn't want to play in the playoffs anymore and doesn't want to win because the Eagles aren't letting him go for the record.
Oh
so
my God.
What are these people saying? What are they thinking? I don't know. I'm not that concerned, but I do think that there is something to be said without momentum. Like I am a little bit concerned that, hey, sitting these guys, Saquon, not really. He's just a different animal. He can give it to you any day of the week. But Jalen Hurts and some other players like that, I might be a little bit concerned that they might be a little bit rusty. I don't know.
Why do some of our fans like drama? I don't understand it. I really don't. Like it
they need something to do in the morning. I mean, hey, maybe we should make a call line that people can call into in the morning and we just surface all the fucking wild ass calls because they're just bored. They just gotta.
I mean, they just love stirring the pot.
I think it's better than McKee, so I don't know why people keep going all over McKee.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kenny Pickett looked really good in that game last week until he got hit.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Yeah.
And
agree.
Broads brought this up. He won 14 of his 24 starts with the Steelers. And that's pretty good for a backup QB, winning that many games. People were expecting him to be like a top 3, top 4 quarterback in the NFL when he's at his best, like Jalen Hurts is when he's at his best.
Backup.
They aren't the same player. Yeah,
Still
they're
a
backup.
but he's a serviceable backup. It's exactly what they had when they had Nick Foles. I'm not saying that Kenny Pickett is Nick Foles.
No.
But he's a serviceable backup like Nick Foles.
We're not saying that, though. We're not saying that, though.
No,
Yeah,
I'm fucking with it. Don't worry.
Saying I do not listen to the Fanatic. I don't listen to WIP unless it's Merrill Reese calling the game, because it's just I just find a lot of the radio hosts to not be that great to begin with. But it's just like you keep hearing the same old repetition where it's like, yo, cuz, yo, John, how you doing, bud? Yeah, the Sixers, they fucking suck.
First time caller, long time listener.
Yeah,
I hope, man.
So going into work every day for the last 45 years. I just got to know what's going on with our teams. Like, 2022, that was supposed to be the year of Philly, but then we lost at every fucking championship game.
Yeah, true. I like this guy.
Trade Bryce Harper.
What's going on?
Jalen Hurts.
I fucking like this guy.
Yeah. Well, it's
The
the same
2022
bullshit.
point, man, I resonate with that one. But
Yeah.
that's all we got for you guys today. Another Saturday morning, Sipping Sports. I want to take a second to thank Broad Sports for joining us, a friend of the podcast, a friend of all of us. Broad, tell the people where they can find you and follow you.
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram at broad_sports. I'm gonna definitely try to start posting more content on my Instagram, get my Instagram blowing up a little bit. Also, on TikTok at Broad Sports. I haven't been posting in a while, mainly because I've been a little busy, but I'm going to post some scenario videos for the NFC and the AFC. And then I haven't done the Big Ten weekly meeting, which was like a big thing for me the last few years in a while. But I think when Ohio State or Penn State, when that season finishes, hopefully if we still have the app, by the way, I'll post something there. But yeah, you'll find me on Instagram at broad_sports. And on TikTok at Broad Sports.
Perfect. Make sure you guys give him a follow. Like I said, a friend of the podcast for a few years now and somebody that will definitely be getting to come back on the show. Make sure to give Chris and KJ a follow on their personal platforms at Chaos Chris PHL and at official KJ McCoy. Make sure to follow them on Instagram too. We tag them in a ton of our stuff. If you're unsure of where to find them, just go to 302 Birds following list, look up Chaos Chris or KJ McCoy, and I'm sure that they will pop up. And make sure to give us a follow on Instagram at Sip and Sports Pod. We're trying to grow on there. We're almost at 1,000 followers now on the Sip and Sports Podcast, which is just crazy because our Instagram on there pretty much just collaborates with our other page. So it's crazy that 1,000 of you guys follow us on there and care about what we do. That means a ton. But be sure to like, comment, subscribe. All those little things mean a ton. We appreciate the 35 of you guys in here who joined us today throughout the show. You guys are really amazing. Hope everybody has a great rest of their holiday season with their family. Go out and drink some last-minute eggnog for me. Not too much, but have a good time. Other than that, that's all we got. Hope you guys enjoy your weekend, and fuck the Giants. Go Birds.